Elden Ring Nightreign is a game where the whole goal is to become powerful to maximize your odds of beating the final boss, the Night Lord. To be powerful, you'll need a good weapon, and lucky for us, we can see the boss's weaknesses in the expedition menu, so we know exactly what to look for. Fissure in the Fog and Sentient Pest are weak to fire, so weapons like the Magma Blade, Chronal Vessel Candlestand, and Rivers of Blood are really good against them. If you are lucky, you might even find the Blasphemous Blade or the Grafted Dragon. All of these weapons will do great against these bosses, and for Fissure in particular, you even get an extra stagger on her after applying enough fire damage, so that's even more incentive to use the desired affinity. Dark Drift Knight and Augur are weak to lightning, so weapons like Dragon Scale Blade, Dragon Greyclaw, Dragon King's Crack Blade, and the Bolt of Gransax are all good against these bosses. Actually, any blue weapon that deals lightning damage will be good to interrupt both bosses' instance moves and do more affinity damage. That goes for fire too. You can just get a blue fire weapon, upgrade it, and it will be serviceable. And then we have Holy, the damage from the heavens. There are a lot of good purple holy weapons like the Blade of Calling or Black Knife if you're using daggers, the Ordovi's Greatsword or the Gargoyle's Black Blade for greatswords, Siluria's Trees and the Big Tuba for strength weapons. You get it, you have a lot of options, but there's one weapon that is the best, the Halo Scythe. This weapon is better than holy legendary weapons like Marika's Hammer, Eclipse Shotell, Golden Order Greatsword, even better than the Sacred Relic Sword, which is great, but the weapon art is too expensive and slow. But what makes the Halo Scythe the best holy weapon? Is it because you get bleed and holy? No, it's because of the weapon art. It deals pure holy damage, so you get the most from improved holy and affinity attack powers on your relics. It has good tracking and range, certainly more range than the Blade of Calling. It can be chain cast, so the user can deal massive damage when finding the right window, and it's pretty easy to find, making it somewhat consistent to get. Now, if you look at the expedition menu, we'll see that there are only two bosses that are weak to holy: Dogs and their Honor 9 aspect. Beyond taking more damage from the holy affinity, these guys will suffer a stagger after enough holy damage is dealt to them, just like the Ice Dragon against fire. However, the expedition menu is lying to you, because there's actually more bosses that are weak to holy, like Libra. He takes a whopping 35% more damage from holy, and Dreadlord taking 25% more damage in phase 1, 15% in phase 2. Even without a stagger or debuff, it is worth going for a holy weapon or spell against these guys. So actually, 4 Night Lords are weak to holy, almost half of the bosses. So you're going to be seeing the Halo Scythe a lot, because it's the best holy weapon after all. Many people hate this weapon because it has become the meta in Nightreign, especially in Deep of Night where the game gets too hard, so people will really, try hard to win. It's funny that people are getting mad at players for trying to win, as in you're not supposed to win and try your best, you're supposed to handicap yourself or something. I do understand the sentiment of seeing the same build being used over and over again in a game with so many weapons that would allow for a lot of variety. This is mainly an issue with the Dormant Powers helps discover's weapon type. This relic effect allows the user to manipulate the RNG of the expedition to maximize their odds of getting the desired weapon. So the Halo Scythe isn't a weapon that will show up from time to time. People will build for the Halo Scythe with Dormant Reapers, and since this is one of 2 purple Reapers, the user is almost guaranteed to find it. But what if the user doesn't find it? That's my first point. You have to find the Halo Scythe. If you ever played Recluse or Revenant, you know how ass it is to rely on dormant powers. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I've also read that it can affect the drops of your teammates, and since the Halo Scythe is the most hated weapon in the game, people are less likely to drop it for you as well. And what happens if you don't find it? In this run against Death 5 Everdark Dogs, I didn't find the Halo Scythe even though I had Dormant Reapers. I only had Marika's Hammer, and this weapon sucks balls. And the reason it sucks is that you can only use the weapon art without dying when invisible, which in my opinion is kinda limiting. We did do some good damage at the start while invisible, but the fight still took 15 minutes, with people going down all the time, and we only won because I had a Wendy. So yeah, if you don't find the Halo Scythe, you are in for a rough time, and that's because number 2, the Halo Scythe build is only good for the Halo Scythe, and the reason for it is because the other purple Reaper is the Winged Scythe, which sucks, and scythes in general are just terrible weapons. The moveset is just too bad. If you're using the Glintstone Chris, for example, you're going to be spamming the skill most of the time, but you can still use it as an actual weapon, because daggers have good moveset. Same goes for Ordovi's Greatsword, nice Greatsword moveset, and you can use the weapon art when you find a good opening. When you run Dormant Reapers, you are locking yourself out of the potential good drops that your character can find organically, just so you can get that one weapon and spam that one move. Now, the chances of finding the Halo Scythe should technically be 50%, because it's one of the 2 purple drops, and the more bosses you kill in the run, the higher are your odds of finding it. But killing bosses might be difficult because number 3, the Halo Scythe build has a bad early game. First, let's talk about the common Halo Scythe users. Since this is a dex weapon, most characters that would bother to run a Reaper build are the ones with high dex. However, Wilder, Arnai, and Executor have an issue, their deep relics. If they're using only Holy or Affinity attack up, the early game is going to be abysmal, because their initial weapon only deals physical damage, and blue Affinity weapons scale with other stats. A magic weapon with a Pebble skill will scale with Intelligence, a holy weapon with Sacred Blade will scale with Fate, and so on. So even if they find a good early game Affinity skill, their damage is not going to be great because these guys are all dumb and atheists. Cheaters will usually add a Horfra Stomp in their initial weapon line for that reason. So really, the best option to have a decent early game is to pick Duchess. She has high intelligence and her fate isn't too bad as well. Her starting magic dagger skill is serviceable for early game, Restage can help up the damage in the start, and you can use magic spells if you build into Affinity and not Holy, which will result in less Halo Scythe damage later on. Now, if the man were to build into physical damage with the dual balancer relics, so they can do decent damage from the get-go, the Halo Scythe damage would turn out to be underwhelming, and that's because number 4, the Halo Scythe isn't as powerful as you think. Don't get me wrong, it is the best holy weapon. I even think it should be nerfed, and I will talk more about it later. But the thing is, if you ever use the Halo Scythe without stacking up skill attack power up the wazoo and running an optimized build for it, you would know that the damage isn't the craziest. I've had many runs where I had a Halo teammate who didn't have a great build, so their damage was just okay, which results in a decent fight that didn't end too quickly. So for the Halo Scythe to shine, it needs a good run, with good passives and good damage. And guess what? Any weapon or spell will be great under the right circumstances. It's just a matter of how practical the RNG of making that build work is. And I'm going to give you an actual example. The footage you're seeing here is Step 5. Halo Scythe damage is insane, right? That's 4k per ring, but there's a lot of baggage to it. That person not only was running a dedicated Halo Scythe build, but they had 5 skill attack powers, most of them purple, and we also had the Libra invasion, and the Duchess didn't level up. Now, on a bad run, Halo Scythe's damage looks something like this, and this is pathetic. It's not even yellow. In the average run, the Halo Scythe should still do yellow damage, but nothing too crazy. It's only broken on a good run because of how insane the skill attack power-up passives are, up to 21% extra damage from a single weapon passive, and how stupidly powerful the dual balance relics are as well, making any skill in the game broken. The Halo Scythe just happens to be a really good skill that exploits the weaknesses of many bosses, and while I do understand that the game isn't that fun in the first example, with the Halo teammate just destroying the boss, and for me Hellstar is a cool boss that we want to have a proper fight, the whole point of the game is to become powerful so you can destroy the boss. You can do the same thing using fire weapons against Caligo or Pass, for example, and you can only have a longer Nightreign fight if you had a bad run or if you're using builds that are not optimal. Maybe avoid dual balancer setups. And the thing is, if you're playing playing with randoms, you don't know nor control what your teammates are going to do. Sometimes they want to win, I know, right? And that's why they chose the Halo build, because they know it is strong. Maybe they're climbing through that fight for the first time. Maybe they are in a duel trying hard to help their friend to climb. And nowadays in that 5, I don't see the Halo build or the Beastclaw Revenant build that often, if I'm being honest. People are getting bored of the Halo Scythe. Okay, so moving on. You finally found the Halo Scythe and you are using a build specifically for it. Congratulations! Now you have to deal with number 5. Many field bosses are resistant to Holy. To name a few: Ulcerated Tree Spirit, Tree Sentinel, or Tree Avatar, Royal Revenant, Black Blade Kindred, Godskin Duel, and so on. The Halo side will still perform okay against these bosses, but you'll probably run out of FP before they die. Now, there are some bosses that are weak to Holy, like the Dead Bright Bird. And I really doubt that you're going to be mad for having a Halo side user in your team when you see there's a red bird at the top of the castle. Fuck this boss, thank you Halo side for cheesing this piece of shit. Number 6. The Halo side isn't as safe as you think, and it's basically plain caster. The safety of the Halo side comes from the range. If your teammates hold the boss's aggro, you can just spam Halo rings indefinitely without a care in the world. And you know who else does that? Casters, and I would argue that they are better at casting long-range spells than a Halo side user. Revenant has a strong build with a Beastclaw that requires no RNG and can be used throughout the entire game. More consistent than the Halo side build, but will deal less damage in day 3. Recluse can use many different spells, and this is what makes her fun. Sometimes you don't find jack shit, it is true, but when you get those drops, this is when it becomes fun to play, especially when you get those cocktails going. Spells like Stars of Ruins, Comet, Rancor Cow, Beastclaw, and Lightning Spear are safer than the Halo side. When you're playing with the Halo side, you're basically playing a caster that only has one spell, and that spell is very unsafe to cast if the boss is on you and requires teammate aggro for it to work. The only thing going on for the Halo side is the damage. A good Halo build against a boss that is weak to Holy will outdamage Revenant and Recluse any day of the week. In this video, for example, we see that even though my Duchess was doing a lot of damage with the Halo side, she still got killed when the boss looked at her, because the Halo side just isn't as safe or free as you think it is. And I had to spend 3 days fighting this guy on melee because I don't really play Executor, and I was too afraid to use my ult and die trying to rest then, because I think I should have actually kept the Halo side for myself actually, because I dropped for the Duchess. But anyway, so yeah, the Halo side requires RNG to work. Its build lacks flexibility for most characters because the Halo is the only good Reaper. It has bad early game. It's only broken if you find a lot of skill attack powers. It's still bad during the expedition if you happen to encounter bosses that are resistant to Holy. It's not safe alone and requires teammates to hold aggro for proper use, and I would still nerf it. Now, the nerf that I propose is to the subsequent casting. The first cast will deal full damage, and the casts after that will deal less damage. Nobody uses this in solo expeditions, but if you do, you probably can't cast more than one ring before having to dodge. The idea here is to make spamming the Halo Scythe less broken for the other players, so they can have a proper fight. And if a player decides to only cast once, then stop repeatedly, they might as well use the Blade of Calling because it deals more damage. Even though I think the Halo side hate gets unreasonable at times, I get it. Sometimes I face a boss that I enjoy and it dies extremely quickly. That's why I would nerf the chain casting of the Halo side, so the weapon would have lower DPS and it would be less broken. And lastly, if you're playing with randoms, you cannot control what your teammates do, and you need to understand and accept that. Some people want really hard to win, some people are not that good in the game, and they rely on a powerful build to get their wins. If you hate people like that, and you do not like playing with people that are not at your gaming expertise level, you should not play with randoms. Play with pre-made groups from Discord servers. That way you can set rules to not use the Halo side, or any broken build for that matter. I don't think everyone who decides to use the Halo side is bad or anything like that. I myself will go for that build if I'm helping a friend to climb, or if it's like a Libra game and I want to have a chill game and not one where I'm running around like an idiot for half an hour. But nowadays I'd rather go Duchess without dormant power so I can get the Blade of Calling or the Black Knife, because Reapers, they just suck. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like and subscribe, and please stop throwing my games just because I'm running Dormant Reapers. I just want to win.